I find it a privilege to be here, being on the Forum for Membership. This is a new ideal, and I'm delighted to be here with membership, because this is what we're all about.
Thanks, Isabel. I have to say, I've had introductions before. That's possibly the nicest introduction I've had for a long time, so I'll take that. As Isabel said, we have some members of the year in the audience in the front row. We've also got 2 or 3, and I apologise completely because I should have introduced them earlier when I came in. We have Carol, at the back, who's a community member of the year, and I think we've also got Joe White in the audience as well. And Joe was the active member of the year. I'm looking around, I can't see Gay. The other member of the 6 was then Gay Goodall, and Gay was the ethical member of the year. 2011, we as a membership decided that we wanted a member of the year to recognise the work that our members do in the community and that our members frankly do to support society. We have 6 members of the year. 6 of us then flew out to Tanzania, a little town called Arusha, or Magara, which is just south of Arusha, to do community work in a primary school there, to work with the community and to understand a little bit about what it's like, life over in that part of the world. The purpose of today is twofold, really. One is to talk about our experiences at that school, what we did. Secondly, connected with that, is then to talk about what we've found out and put into practice since we've come back, which is equally important. And then the third bit of today is to talk about the actual Member of the Year launch for 2012. So there's 2 elements to it. The first bit I'd like to do, if I can, is then say to Ross. Ross can come up and just talk to us a bit about the experiences we had over our time in Tanzania. Ross?
Super. Thanks very much, Pete. I'm not going to say an awful lot because I'm going to introduce, stand a little bit further back from that, introduce the video that I made from footage that I took while we were out in Tanzania. I'll try and position myself to obscure that mildly embarrassing cardboard cutout behind me, but to begin with, I'll just explain why I was very grateful to win Young Member of the Year. It was for some filmmaking work that I'd done, making a short documentary called Beyond the Brink, which is a short educational film about climate change, which I made in 2010, and was very pleased to receive support from Midcounties to distribute it to schools and also to put the film online. So far it's been watched nearly 3,500 times online. I think it's being used in lessons and also at universities as well. So that's kind of the background to why I was given the Young Person Award.
Hello, I'm Alison. I was the Eco Member of the Year. I think we're going to get a picture on here. Yes, it's great to watch that video, and just want to refer to a few things in it. And I want to talk a little bit more about the connections we had with the people, in particular the children, and also about that river, the importance of the water supply. So actually it's easy to get sentimental about smiling African children and the way they come and slip their hand into yours, and you know, as we heard from Julia, joining in with everything so enthusiastically, and it's really, I think we've got lessons to learn about that inner resilience that they have, that hopefulness and enthusiasm. That I think Pete used the word enthusiasm on the video, and it was very evident. Although you know, yeah, so I can almost understand Madonna wanting to adopt an African children, Madonna and people like that. But I think we all know that that's not the answer, and as Ross said in the video, what we did isn't the answer either. But it is about cooperation and learning from each other, and certainly I learnt a lot, and I'm very grateful to Midcounties for giving me the opportunity.
What I wanted to talk about was just basically about some of the detail of the work that we did in Tanzania. As an experience, it was it was astounding to be in that sort of community and be working in the area, working with the children. What Ross has shown you on the video and spoken about, and what Alison's told you about, has really, I think, quite succinctly illustrated what it was all about. So not an awful lot more for me to add about the experience, but you can see there the classrooms in the school there was about 6 of them, as Clive said on the video, 600 pupils, which they have to rotate, so there would be a number of, while we were doing the work, there'd be a number of pupils all around just watching what we're doing. The classroom on the right there and the one on the left is actually the youngest one, so the early years part of the school, if you like. No roof, a basic bare floor, just a blackboard at the end, and they have to come out of that environment when the heat gets too hot during the day.
In terms of Member of the Year for 2012, we have got some forms that we can give out as well on the way out. Apologies again, because from a question point of view, I'm sure there'll be some questions on that. We're all around lunchtime, etc. But a genuine, heartfelt from me, a thank you for all the Members of the Year for work they've done, those ones who came on the trip, and indeed those ones who didn't.
My name is Isabel Burbage, and I'm your member-appointed director, and very proud to be here talking to you. Well, the other guys will be doing the talking, but to be with the section on membership.
As Isabel said, my name is Pete Westall, General Manager of Membership. Some of you will recall 2011 we had a Member of the Year, and we had Echo Member of the Year and Green Member of the Year and Colleague Member of the Year and so on. You might recall at the half-year meetings, what we said the prize for that was a chance to travel to a very small town called Magara, which is in Tanzania, to help a cooperative and community effort to rebuild a local primary school. What we felt was important at this year's AGM was then to give you an opportunity to see a video of what we've done and to hear from 3 of the people who went there on their experiences and what they've learnt.
Hello everyone, thanks very much Pete. I'm Ross, I was 2011 Young Member of the Year, so I'll just begin very quickly by explaining why I won the Young Member Award, and then by way of introduction tell you about our travelling to Magara village itself from Kilimanjaro Airport, and talking a little bit about what it was like to film there, and then Alison and Gordon will tell you more about the experience of the work we did improving the primary school in Magara village. So the reason that I got the Young Member Award is for a short documentary I made. I'm a geography student, but my real passion is filmmaking, so at the moment that's my big hobby, I suppose, or more than a hobby. I made a short film called Beyond the Brink, which I was very grateful to receive support from Midcounties Co-op to put online and supply DVDs to schools. It's being used as an educational resource, and it's also being watched online. It's been watched nearly 3,500 times, so I'm delighted at the progress that's made, and it's had much more of an effect than I ever could have hoped. So that's the background to that.
Got the delight actually of saying Alison Crane is our Eco Member of the Year. Alison was one of the people you'd have seen in the video. Give you a little bit more on her experiences.
Well, it's great watching that video. I think I've seen it 4 times now, and it does get better. It's a great reminder of time there. Thank you, Ross. We're lucky to have had you with us. And I want to just say a bit more about the connections between with the people, and particularly the children there. But also the adult teachers, and also the way we interacted with each other, which was great. That built up a real community just in the few days that we were there, which has just struck me just now. So the children, it is actually quite easy to get sentimental about smiling African children, and I did. they come and slip their hands in yours as you're walking along the road, and I think they're beautiful. But there are a lot of possibilities there, and the company that we went with are already looking at developing rainwater harvesting systems so that the water's there in the dry periods. You saw the roofs of the classrooms, no gutters, no water butts, no water tanks. That's a fairly simple way of improving the situation there.
You might be wondering what was the point of going halfway across the world to do a community project. So what I'll just briefly go through is what we achieved over the week. My wife certainly asked why I was going all the way across the world to do some painting and decorating, because our hall and stairs needed doing, but I think I managed to get around to it in the end. I'll pay for that at a later date. So the school, as we said on the video, 600 pupils, in not a very good state for repair. The classrooms you can see there are actually the two worst ones in there, and these are actually the early years ones, so the very youngest children go to these and use these classrooms. They can't use them all day because of the heat, so they can only use them up till late in the morning. So it's an ongoing project. What we were able to do was refurbish a couple of the 6 classrooms that were on the site. They needed painting and decorating throughout, and then there was some concrete verandas along the front, which the team worked on as well.
Well,
so.
I'm sitting in that front row feeling a little bit of a fraud for the first time, I think, today with all these great members. Then I look up and I feel even more of a fraud because there's an awful lot of members in this audience that do this good work. Gordon mentioned about why did we go to Tanzania. Hopefully you all know what's special about this year. I'm not talking about the Olympics. I'm not talking about the Queen's Jubilee. I'm not even talking about the Euros, whatever that is. I'm talking about the International Year of Cooperatives. And when our members of the year went on their trip to Tanzania, the theme that we had for that period was local impact on a global scale. The theme we have at the moment is that cooperatives share. And there are so many people in this audience that do work in their communities, not just our colleagues, our members as well. So your MSc looked at the awards for last year and felt that the great work that we'd done internationally needed to come back locally to us in our communities. So what we want to do for 2012 is actually recognise members that do works in the communities in which they live or they work. We're going to take the awards to 5 different regions. Hopefully you'll be coming and seeing us again soon in October for the half-yearly meetings, not that long away. And we're going to be holding those, obviously, in Oxford, Swindon, Gloucester, the West Midlands and in the Shropshire area. And that's the areas that we want to recognise our members. It can be members that do an absolute variety of activities. Somebody that actually set up their own cooperative, somebody that does work in the community on a volunteering basis, somebody that helps a member or a family friend, a neighbour, somebody that helps do the shopping, somebody that's actually gone out and set up a village shop and kept it running every day so that the village can have something to eat and drink. It could be somebody that does recruitment for us, or it could be somebody that's actually organised events or activities.
Thanks for that, Di. We are, I suppose I better stand up actually, it's a bit rude sitting down. We have in the audience as well, who very rudely, I should have introduced at the start, and perhaps if you'd stand up, Clive Ward was the project manager. Clive is, I would go so far as called an expert on the Megara region and indeed the school we went to. You've seen the video, you've heard from people. Questions? We got a mic at all time.
Hello, a fantastic video presentation, really enjoyed it. Are there any plans for follow-up or support, in the coming months and years for the Megara Village project from the Co-op?
There are. Clive, I guess you're probably as good as anybody to talk about the legacy side of it. Can I hand over to Clive? Tony, sorry, have you got the...
You see, I don't have a cardboard cutout, so none of them's breathing down my neck. Yes, it is an ongoing thing. I've been involved with African projects, particularly in East Africa, for many, many years. And Megara Secondary School and Junior School is a place that we've been involved with over the last 4 years. Now, this is an ongoing thing, but our main thrust is not just purely people donating money for these places, but rather to participate as well.
Thank you for the video. I presume from that the river water is used for drinking. Now I see in the background you have cattle there walking and a lot of other things possibly. How safe is that water?
From a personal point of view, we were fine because our water was sterilised, which is good. I'm going to defer to my African expert rather than me try and do it. Clive?
Yes, it is a very good point. They're very fortunate, I suppose, in an area where they have a river to start with, they have water. As you see, it's not very clean and it's very milky. However, there's one thing about that river. It comes down from the escarpment, the western wall of the Rift Valley, and it's all part of the river itself is filtering down through sand. So it's old basement complex rock. It grinds down into this very, very schist and nice sand. So it does filter through. What they do, they're quite clever about this. They do take the actually drinking water above the ford. You can see below the ford it can be quite nasty, you know, full of mixed up water. But they usually bring their cattle down to below the ford and take their water, their drinking water, above the ford.
Who actually built the school originally?
This is going to sound like a broken record now. Now, I could try and blag it, but there's probably somebody in the audience who knows slightly more than I do. I'm going to swap seats.
Well, it's a little bit muddy how it actually started, but it is a community school. Now, bearing in mind that Tanzania, for about 20 years, was a communist country. Now, there was this very small school there in the colonial period when Britain controlled the country as Tanganyika territory at the time. But then Nyeri took over and it became socialized, and then they increased it. Now, the only thing we see there as a legacy from those days is this condemned classroom, which nobody really wants to go into, yet the children seem to run in and out of it all the time. And that's the one we want to knock down and completely get rid of that one. So the only remaining classroom from those days dates from 1972. The rest have been demolished. But yes, it would have been started back in Tanganyika territory times when the British took over.
Lunch draws closer, and I would like to thank Clive, I would like to thank Pete, and all our speakers here, and you for all attending. I do hope you've enjoyed this session.